The Human Security Officer, Part 57. Gareth sat across from Penn, the weight of the moment heavy in the air. "I'm sorry," he murmured, the words feeling inadequate against the storm of emotions swirling around them. Penn's gaze was penetrating, her expression a mixture of anger, disbelief, and a hint of sorrow that made her seem almost statuesque. Her silence stretched on, taut and uncomfortable. Eventually, her shoulders relaxed slightly, and her eyes fell to the floor. Sighing deeply, she responded, "It's fine, I guess. I can't really blame you." Samir always had a knack for meddling in other people's affairs. "If anything, I'm sorry you had to witness that." Gareth swallowed hard, struggling to find the right words. It was, well, I don't think it needs saying, but brutal is one word that comes to mind. "I'm really sorry, Penn. It's done now." "No need to keep apologizing," she replied, her voice devoid of bitterness, almost as if she was trying to convince herself of that fact. "Not just for that. Well, yes, for that, but I'm sorry you had to endure it. I can't imagine what it was like for you, even having seen it." His voice trailed off, knowing he could never truly grasp her experience. For a moment, Penn seemed transfixed by something on the floor, her thoughts far away. The confident demeanor that usually surrounded her appeared to shrink, leaving her looking smaller and more vulnerable than ever. "I won't push you," Gareth said softly, sensing her need for space. "I wouldn't know how to talk about it either. But I want you to know I'm here for you. The rest of the crew is too. I promise I won't share anything, and I know you don't want pity. I'm not pitying you, it's sympathy. If you want to talk, I'm here for you. What do you always say? I've got you." Finally, a flicker of a smile appeared on her lips, and Gareth felt a small sense of relief. Silence enveloped them again, thick and contemplative. Gareth's gaze wandered back to Penn's sketch pad, an idea forming in his mind. "You're an amazing artist. These are so detailed, they're practically lifelike," he said, trying to shift the conversation to safer ground. "Thank you," she replied, her voice more even now. "The shrinks say it helps." "You picked it up after?" he probed gently. "No, actually. It's been a hobby of mine since I was young. I started with tagging the sides of buildings, but after I joined the military, I switched to paper and pencil. The military isn't exactly keen on vandalism, and a pad and pencil are a bit more portable. It's clear you've poured a lot of work and passion into these, and I appreciate the flattering depiction of my own person," he added with a teasing grin. "I enjoyed the view," she admitted with a half smile. "And, thank you for not calling it talent. I never shared my drawings much, but whenever I did, people would say I was talented, which always rubbed me the wrong way. It felt like it implied I didn't earn it. Wylands have a saying, talent is having built a skill since before you could remember." Penn's eyes finally left the floor, locking onto Gareth's. "I like that." She gestured for him to flip to the beginning of her sketchbook. As he did, he discovered a myriad of drawings depicting planets, starscapes, and various natural scenes, a forest, a mountain, a serene lake. She began explaining each piece as he turned the pages. "That forest surrounded the boot camp where I trained. This mountain had a compound hidden behind it, but if you came in from this angle, you couldn't tell anyone lived there. That's the first planet I deployed to. I found a quiet spot on the cruiser and couldn't stop staring at the view." Penn shifted closer, offering him a spot beside her on the bed. He accepted the invitation, feeling an increasing connection as they shared this intimate moment. The drawings transitioned from landscapes to portraits, a blend of people she had trained with and other moments that seemed to capture the essence of her journey. "Hina and Mac were with me in training. The others joined later when the three of us were invited to Cerberus," she explained, nostalgia coloring her voice. "I may be misunderstanding, but it seems fortunate to stick with the two people you grew so close to throughout your career," Gareth said thoughtfully. "Not really. After basic training, we were all sent to different branches. We didn't reunite until Cerberus. I wouldn't be surprised if our already established rapport played a part in our acceptance, But that doesn't mean any of us didn't earn our spot, she clarified. Gareth nodded, continuing to flip through the pages as Pen narrated the stories behind her art. Each drawing felt like a window into her past, allowing him glimpses of her life and experiences. Eventually, they arrived at a pivotal moment in her journey, the Corman City mission that had left scars deeper than anyone could see. The previous drawing depicted Alvarez laughing heartily, a stark contrast to the next page, where the art morphed into dark, abstract forms. The style had shifted abruptly, a rawness emerging that was both haunting and poignant. He paused, recognizing that Pen might not want to revisit these memories. But she began to speak before he could turn away. This was my first nightmare. I hadn't picked up the pencil since becoming head of Cerberus, but I just couldn't shake it from my mind. The therapist said drawing could help, so I started again, she explained, her voice trembling slightly. But if this is your first nightmare, does that mean they didn't start until after you stepped down? Yeah. I threw myself into my work. I didn't do anything else, didn't think about anything else. I don't think I even dreamed at all during that time. He nodded, feeling the gravity of her words. He flipped the page again, revealing another abstract figure, this one viciously injured and surrounded by flames. The ensuing pages depicted similar nightmarish imagery, a stark departure from the earlier vibrancy of her art. This one is the worst. They just talk, hate and spit, Pen's voice faltered. But I don't want them to leave either. They're so close. I almost prefer the ones where I'm just reliving it all. I know they wouldn't say the things they do, but... Gareth tried to fathom what it would be like to have a twisted version of his friends torment him, his heart aching for her. I'm not sure how I'd feel if a fake deed were just, how do you say? Twisting the knife? She nodded slowly, her expression heavy with understanding. They fell into silence again, the atmosphere charged yet comforting. As they moved through the sketches, the tone gradually shifted once more. Pen's style softened, and the subjects lightened. There were landscapes filled with stars, and soon, drawings of their crew came into view. He spotted one of himself and Deeg at the bar, sharing drinks just before Pen had set the backwater rabble straight. She had captured the moment perfectly, even the energy of their laughter. Then he came to the final few pages, portraits of her friends and fellow crew members. The expressions were softer, kinder, smiles adorning their faces. I really do like this drawing of me. I noticed these last ones are, your friends are smiling. Were these good dreams? He ventured carefully. No, just memories, Pen replied, her voice reflective. Being with you guys, sometimes it reminds me of the better moments with them. I've always drawn what I wanted, whatever felt right. While I haven't stopped having nightmares, it's nice to want to create something else. Gareth felt a wave of empathy wash over him. He wanted to tell her he was glad to help, even in this small way. To assure her that the crew would always be there for her, that they would be proud to know she thought of them in this light. But the words felt inadequate. Instead, he chose to let the moment breathe. Perhaps I should commission you, he said, trying to lighten the mood. I was thinking something heroic, like me fearlessly diving through this planet's atmosphere. She chuckled, a genuine laugh that filled the space between them. Fearlessly, huh? Of course. That's how I remember it. Ah, right. Of course, that sounds right to me. Their laughter hung in the air, a comforting balm against the heaviness of the previous conversation. Gareth hopped off the bed and carefully placed the sketch pad back into the small metal lockbox, glancing at her to ensure she was okay with it. Pen watched him silently, her expression unreadable, but he sensed a shift, perhaps a glimmer of gratitude. I'm glad you shared these with me, he said, his voice steady. It takes a lot of courage to open up like this, and I want you to know I appreciate it. You've come so far. Pen nodded, her eyes shining with something between gratitude and vulnerability. Days passed, and life aboard the Nebula resumed its regular rhythm, yet an unspoken bond had formed between them, a quiet understanding forged through shared experiences and a glimpse into the depths of one another's souls. They moved through their daily routines with a new sense of camaraderie, and Penn seemed to lighten with each passing day. One afternoon, as the crew gathered for a rare moment of leisure, Gareth found himself sitting next to Penn in the common area. They were surrounded by laughter and light conversation, but he noticed that Penn had taken out her sketch pad again, the pages worn and well-loved. "Are you working on something new?" he asked, leaning closer to get a better look. "Sort of," she replied, glancing at him with a flicker of excitement. "It's a bit different, though." He watched as her pencil glided across the paper, creating lines that formed a shape he couldn't quite make out. "Can I see?" he asked, curiosity piquing. With a nod, she turned the pad toward him, revealing a half-finished drawing of the nebula, its sleek lines and imposing form captured beautifully. "Wow, this is incredible. You really have a gift for capturing the essence of things." "Thanks," she replied, a hint of pride in her voice. "It's just a work in progress, but it feels good to create again." "I can see that," Gareth said, feeling a warmth in his chest. "You've always had a talent for bringing things to life through your art." "I don't believe in talent," she corrected him playfully, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "I believe in hard work. I just practice a lot." "Fair enough. Well, if you ever need a model for your next piece, I'm available," he joked, flashing her a grin. Penn chuckled, shaking her head. "You might regret that offer. I have some wild ideas for my next piece." As their laughter mingled with the camaraderie of the crew, Gareth felt a sense of ease settle over him. It was moments like this that reminded him of the importance of connection and friendship, especially in a world filled with uncertainty. Over the weeks that followed, Gareth continued to support Penn as she navigated the complexities of her emotions and experiences. He noticed the gradual changes in her demeanor, the way her laughter came easier, how she engaged more openly with the crew, and how her sketches reflected a newfound vibrancy. One evening, as they shared a quiet moment on the observation deck, gazing out at the stars, Penn turned to him with a thoughtful expression. "You know, I didn't realize how much I needed to share this part of myself until recently." "I'm glad you did," Gareth said sincerely. "You've got so much to offer, and I think we all benefit from your art. It's a part of who you are." She smiled softly, the warmth of her expression wrapping around him like a comforting blanket. "You've helped me see that it's okay to be vulnerable. I used to think it was a weakness, but now I understand it's just a part of being human." "Exactly. We're all in this together," he replied, feeling a surge of gratitude for their connection. As the ship drifted through the stars, Penn began to sketch again, her hand moving fluidly across the page. Gareth watched her work, captivated by the way her artistry unfolded, each stroke revealing layers of emotion and strength. "Do you think you'll ever show these to anyone else?" he asked, his voice soft. "Maybe," she said, pausing to consider. "I'm not sure if I'm ready yet, but I think I'm starting to feel like I want to share more of my journey." "Whenever you're ready, I'll be right here to support you," Gareth assured her. The weeks turned into months, and Penn's sketches transformed into a vibrant tapestry of experiences, both painful and joyful. She began to depict her friends not only in moments of struggle, but also in moments of triumph, laughter, and camaraderie. Gareth admired the way she captured the essence of their journey together, and he often found himself reflecting on the power of art to heal and connect. Her sketches became a bridge between the past and present, allowing her to process her emotions and embrace the complexity of her experiences. One fateful day, as the crew gathered for a team briefing, Penn surprised everyone by presenting a series of her drawings. "I wanted to share something I've been working on," she announced, her voice steady but laced with excitement. As she unveiled each piece, the crew sat captivated, mesmerized by the raw emotion and authenticity woven into her art. The portraits of their adventures, moments of laughter, camaraderie, and even loss, unfurled like stories in front of their eyes. Gareth watched Penn as she shared her work, the light in her eyes brighter than ever. He felt a swell of pride for her courage in opening up, for her willingness to share a piece of herself with the people who had become her family. When she finished, the room erupted in applause, and Gareth felt a surge of warmth as he joined in. Pen beamed, her cheeks flushed with joy and disbelief. "I didn't expect this kind of response," she said, her voice filled with genuine surprise. "You deserve it," Gareth said, stepping forward. "Your art captures our experiences in a way that words never could. You have an incredible gift." The crew echoed his sentiments, each sharing their own thoughts on how her art had touched them. Pen stood amidst their words of encouragement, her heart swelling with gratitude and connection. In that moment, Pen realized the power of vulnerability and the beauty of sharing her journey with others. It was more than just drawing, it was about bridging the gaps between pain and healing, between loneliness and connection. As they returned to their daily lives aboard the Nebula, Pen felt lighter, unburdened by the weight of her past. She had learned to embrace her vulnerability, to channel her experiences into art that resonated with others. With Gareth and the crew by her side, she knew she could face whatever challenges lay ahead. She had transformed her nightmares into something beautiful, and in doing so, had forged a deeper connection with her friends. Their laughter filled the corridors, the warmth of companionship wrapping around them like a well-worn blanket. With each passing day, Pen felt more alive, more herself, and more connected to the crew she had come to love. As they navigated the stars together, she knew they would face whatever the universe threw at them, side by side, heart to heart, united in their shared journey.